Welcome to Cross the Line. On today's episode, we talk to Maddie Gray and Kaitlyn Urbanek about their recent college commitments from the Lady Chargers soccer team. How did your soccer journey start, and when did you know that is what you wanted to do in your future?
I actually started playing soccer when I was 2, but I really knew I wanted to play in college, right before middle school. But my mom played in college, so it was kind of something that I kind of always grew up. I guess I just kind of wanted to do what she did.
For me, I started playing OPC rec when I was 4, and then I started playing club when I was 8. And I was not a goalkeeper. I didn't want to be a goalkeeper, and then I just got put in, and then I hated it, and then I just kind of fell in love with it.
How has your role in the team grown since freshman year?
I guess when you're always kind of following the upperclassmen when you're a freshman, just doing whatever they say, whatever they need. And then I guess now you're the ones that all the little girls are looking up to, so just having to be an example from now on.
Yeah, I agree with that. Making sure you're setting a good example and you're leading by example, not just with your words. And people are actually looking at you and caring about what you're doing that aren't just the coaches, players as well. So.
And then how did Coach Crane and Coach Macon help you in your development as a player and also as a leader?
I guess they really, especially this year with club and us always being gone, they really helped me remember my role on the high school team, because even though always being gone, you still had to be an example and lead, even if you weren't physically there. And so I guess just kind of helping to remember the role of almost balancing both and being a teammate for both.
Yeah, the drills we did at practice, we can ask them if we can do this certain drill, and they're very accepting and we'll go along with whatever kind of questions or advice we have for the team. And they also they're really good with letting us know kind of problems within the team, or letting us be mentors to the younger girls and kind of stepping back a little bit.
Who through your playing career has helped you the most to be the player you are today?
My parents. That's kind of a simple answer, but both my parents, because they played in college, they know what it takes to want to do that. And so they kind of just helped me prepare myself for, working and being able to manage time and just doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'd say definitely my parents. Also, my younger club coaches really were the ones who got me to love what I did, and I think that was really big. The girls on the high school team, for sure, just getting out there and working every day and showing us, and they really push you.
So can you walk us through your recruitment process and how La Tech reached out and sort of where things went from there?
Yeah, so I guess the process, it started in June because of in-state rules. College aren't allowed to talk to you until June 15th going into your junior year. So from there, it was kind of just kind of having to put yourself out there to basically anybody, because you want to be able to get the attention from any school you can. And so that process took a really long time. But La Tech, they had reached out, I'd reached out, we had been keeping just constant communication. And they had seen me play, and they just asked me for a visit, and I went down and just loved basically every bit of it. The school was growing, their program's growing as a soccer team, and it just felt like home. So that was kind of the big thing.
Kaitlyn, a couple colleges have shown interest in you, and have you made a decision on where you want to play at the next level?
I have an idea. I've definitely narrowed it down. I think right now it's just kind of still talking and finding the place that's best for me financially and just family-wise and time, distance, I guess. But yeah, my process is very similar to hers. So it's just everybody picks a place for different reasons. So
what were some key factors that went into your college decision?
I always had things that I had a list of things I wanted that needed to kind of be filled. I wanted some place that just felt like home. I'm a very homebody girl, so just someone that place that felt like home. And I also wanted a good athletic program in general, because I love athletes supporting athletes. That's one of my favorite things ever, just seeing people at games. And so a place I knew that would support each other. But then also I wanted to play at the highest level possible. And like play D1 soccer, and that's always been my dream, and that's what I wanted to do. And if that's where I was to be led, that's where I was going to go. And then obviously I wanted a family. Because I would be with them for 4 years. You have to be able to have a family, and that's what I wanted.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely, like for me, coaching staff is so important. Like people, I feel like if I'm going away from my family, people I feel like will care for me as a person as well as a player. Just on campus, when you go on your visits and stuff, just like having a good feeling about it, right? When you, like people say, oh, there's a feeling, but like there really is. Like you step on campus and you just like don't like it. A lot of people like schools like Vandy, for instance. Everybody loves Vandy, but I hated it. I just did not like it at all. And so it's just kind of things like that. And then coaches for sure, teammates, like meeting some of the girls on the team, I think is important because they are the people you're going to spend, like they're going to be your best friends pretty much. So that's pretty important.
Yeah, it's always weird to know what like kind of takes people off from a school. Like everyone's different, and sometimes it's always the weirdest things. Like I wanted a male coach.
Yes,
some
that
people
was
are
for
different.
me as well.
Some people don't care, but I needed a male coach just because it's how I feel, and it's always just a feeling when you get places.
I agree. And environment especially, like some people want to stay in the South, some people don't want to go more than like an hour from home, and some people don't care. I think that, making sure you're comfortable where you are. And people really do make decisions for so many different reasons. Like I crossed out the entire state of Florida, like before my whole recruitment process. I was like, I just don't want to go to Florida. I don't want to live there. And then, but I was like looking at places like Wyoming and Montana. So it's all so different for everybody. And like Power 5 or D1 versus D2 is like, the decision seems easy, but it can definitely affect people differently.
Because you kind of have to look forward. You can't like look at where a team is now. You have to look at where they'll be in 2-4 years. And so there are schools that are growing out of like for example, like Alabama this past year, they were a school that was kind of like
they were okay
in the SEC, and then they went to the Final Four. And so that's a program you just came out of nowhere.
And like I said about coaches, like one of the schools I'm talking to now, the guy texted me 2 days ago and was like, I heard you had a calculus test. Like, how'd that go for you? And so it's just things like that, like had nothing to do with soccer, but that he remembered that I told him I had a test, and he texted me and asked how it went. It's just like things like that and you tell your parents that and they feel more comfortable, like you feel more comfortable going there just because you feel like they actually care about you, so.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, I have to keep going, but after my visit at La Tech, one of the things that really just kind of was really cool is I got a handwritten letter from the coach after, and it just kind of was a very personal thing. It was like, it wasn't just another visit for a coach when they just have like players there, because they're getting a bunch of players, they're looking at other people, and so just to get something very personal made it was better connection with the school.
It's definitely a business, and the higher the level, the less like a family it is, because they're seriously so concerned about keeping their jobs and winning, and like that's how they keep their jobs. And so it's kind of hard to find a balance. And culture, especially team culture, that's a lot of things that a lot of time some things that they bring up at camps and stuff is like, oh, our team has an amazing culture, but everybody's grew up differently, so like everybody makes that decision differently. Like a lot of people would want to stay close to their parents, but for me it was just like, it wasn't necessarily that I didn't want to stay in Oxford. It was just kind of a culture thing and like how I thought I would vibe with the team, and so whether I pushed it or not. But like the process for us, everybody talks about how we don't really have to apply to college after this. Like we know, but that's pretty much what we've been doing since freshman year, is like applying and phone calls, because even though the coaches can't talk to us until the 15th before our junior year, like you send emails, you start talking, or you start marketing yourself like 8th grade or freshman year. You start going to camps and you take phone calls and all this other stuff, resume, transcript,
questionnaires.
Yes, it's like, and you're a freshman telling these coaches what you want, or like in your emails telling these coaches what you want to major in, like making sure they have your major, and you're like 13 or 14. So it's definitely like we've definitely been through the process. It's just different.
Power 5 different like for soccer than it is like.
It's the same. It's same teams.
Right.
But like same teams as football, so SEC, ACC, and best in soccer, Power 5 is probably the ACC.
Yes.
Or SEC, but Yeah, it's just like UNC, Duke, Florida State are always top 10.
What have been some of your favorite memories being a part of this team and just really being in like an Oxford Charger?
I mean, there are like a few memories like that really stick out, but just the time together, because every day is different at practice. Because we would have days where we'd have music out there and everyone's just having a great time, and there's also days where everyone's yelling at each other and so you're about ready to kick someone in the shin because they're getting on your nerves. But it was just the times. I mean, a lot of it was fun. I think one of my favorites was was it last year? Mm-hmm. We didn't have practice because Crane had everyone go and take sand and fill holes in the field while he drove around a tractor. And it was like, we didn't practice. We just filled potholes in the field, and that was funny.
Yeah. It's just like the little things, like going to Nukes before every home game or like Subway before every home game. It's like that's kind of stuff more than the big stuff. And like when you step on the field with the team and you do your little handshakes with everybody, and you like everybody has their own little superstitions and stuff. And it's just like when you kind of lock in with the girls on the team, like the environment off the field, like it's kind of been a big thing, especially bringing in 8th graders that are playing with, or 7th graders that are playing with seniors. It's like not everybody is going to be best friends, but when you step on the field, you just kind of lock in. And I think that's the part I'll probably remember the most. It's like the relationship on the field and like before games.
Yeah, because you had, even in high school, you had girls from different like social groups as well, and you all come together and you just are one family, and it's really fun.
It's so different than club because we don't go to school with the girls that we play club with. Like they live in Birmingham, and we
have girls from Florida, Georgia, like everywhere.
So and we drive to Birmingham twice a week during the fall, and then we're just like, and it's just you know them on the field, but you don't go to school with them, so you don't have to worry about like the typical high school drama that would happen on a soccer team. Like it's definitely a different environment, which makes high school a little bit harder to kind of connect, I think.
I feel like with the club is also really the connection is also different because everyone wants the same thing. Mm-hmm. Like everyone's is out to the same goal, and that is to play college, and it kind of creates a really cool bond between everyone because everyone's working their butts off.
Like every practice is so competitive, whereas high school you kind of have to like bring yourself mentally to like people are just out here because they want to be out here like with their friends and stuff. And so I definitely think it's more relaxing. Like we still get out there and work, but just it's not so hardcore and competitive every day.
Mm-hmm. What are y'all's superstitions?
Well, we have a little handshake before our high school games.
But I have one. I do it more for club than I do for high school. And it sounds absolutely awful. It is probably the most unhealthy thing you can ever do.
Your McDonald's.
I always have a McGriddle from McDonald's before my games and some of a Bang. It's awful, and I don't tell my coaches about it because I know they'd probably like put me on a diet or something. But I've been doing it for like 3 years, where I do the same breakfast before every game. It's so funny.
I don't like superstitions. I think superstitions are unhealthy, so I just call them habits. So I don't have to do them every time, but majority of the time before a club game, or if we're out of town, I eat beef jerky and Gatorade for breakfast. And that's kind of weird, but I really like it. Or I eat hotel bacon. Or a waffle. That's like my go-to breakfast. And then, socks above the knee.
Socks always above the knee.
Always. I don't roll my shorts. A lot of people roll their shorts. Maddie rolls her shorts.
Yeah. It's just a comfort thing. It's not really a superstition. It's just a comfort level almost.
Yeah.
Like it's like feeling like I can't have if I can like feel my shorts in the back of my thighs in a weird way, it bothers me. I can't, it just throws me off.
I'm definitely superstitious about PKs though. Like I have to do this little stretchy thingy before I take PKs. I like stand up and then I lean forward until I feel my knees stretch, and then I'm like good to go before every PK.
I have a thing. I have to do like a certain amount of steps back inside, and then I have to wait a certain amount of time after the whistle's blown, and I walk to the ball, and it drives people insane.
Yeah.
People hate it, but I walk to the ball from halfway to the ball. And no one likes it, but
yeah.
But I'd say memory-wise, probably my favorite one this year was when we beat Clinton. Like that was just such a relief. It was a little upsetting when they won, and we were like, we literally beat them earlier this season, but that was a fun one because we hadn't done it in like years, and so it was fun to finally.
Yeah. I like classify myself as Team Braider. I braid everybody's hair before the game, so that's something I'll miss probably. Like
the music. I'll miss being the music girl. I had the playlist. I had the speaker. That was my job.
We all have our little roles.
Yeah.
What are y'all's goals for senior year? It can be
It's a good
soccer-wise, school-wise, anything.
State title. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, of course we want to win state, and everybody says that. I think that one's kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah. I think just it almost was like after the past few years, like they've been like unlike the year last year. It was a really good game. We lost in a good game. There's not much you could do about it. But this year, it was like with the different circumstances of like how the game went, who won state in general. It was like to see how close and how much we actually could have actually done it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes
it's just so
makes
motivating.
the want even more than it has been the past.
I think that some of my goals, like individually, especially, I think as a team, like getting stronger in general, just having such a young team, I think that's one of my goals for the team. And then individually, just like becoming a better player and just working in fitness wise.
So do you see yourself as like, when you were a freshman, was there like a senior that you looked up to, and do you like see yourself as that senior now, next year?
I think there were qualities about the seniors.
Yeah.
There wasn't like, I didn't idolize anybody, I don't think. But like when I came on as a freshman, Mariana and Carissa were seniors, and they were like by far some of my favorite leaders. Like they just kept the team kind of in line and made sure everybody was doing their best at practice. And then I think Grace last year, I mean, like coming to every game even though she couldn't play, and just her work ethic during practice and like silent leadership, I think is something I really looked up to. And just people's like mentalities on the field.
Yeah, I definitely like, even though like Grace didn't play her senior year, even her junior, like sophomore year, she still was like like you said, a silent leader. Like
She's very encouraging.
Yeah, she came to practice and she would work her butt off every day, and like even though you were like going against her was kind of nerve-wracking because knowing who she was, like she still would like encourage you to, and she'd give you tips on what you could do and stuff like that. I think there were also other girls on the team, like Ivy, for instance, was someone who was always encouraging and someone you could go to on the team, which is someone you always need. Because having someone older than you can kind of look up to and talk to is always nice to have. And you said Mariana. Mariana was probably one of my favorite seniors to be under because she's just a really good person.
Yeah, that's like kind of what I want to leave, is like people thinking of me how I think about them now. It's like just good people, good leaders.
Yeah. So I also just really want to enjoy senior year. It's senior year, and just to play, you know, and finish high school.
Yeah, it's like crazy. Oh my gosh.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. To tune in next time, make sure to go to the Charger Online YouTube channel or the Charger Online website.